what a beautiful place to kick off the McLaren Trophy America season here in sunny Sonoma in Northern California. I'm Jonathan Grace. I'll be taking you through today's broadcast. My commentary partner later today will be Tom Baker of McLaren. We'll have Amanda Busick down patrolling the pit lane for us. And what a weekend it is set to be. You could not have ordered a more picturesque weather weekend here at Sonoma. More fans than I think I've ever seen at Sonoma. Track temperature sitting just about 105.7 degrees Fahrenheit, nice and toasty. Humidity in the mid 40s. But the sunny skies here in California, 82.4 degrees. It's picture perfect. The fans taking a little bit of refuge in the shade, but they're enjoying what's been one heck of a weekend already of action in what's the opening weekend of action for SRO America competition across the board. And we're getting to see some of the coolest cars here. Single make championships, McLaren Trophy, and their Artura Evos that we saw debut in North American competition 1 year ago. We're set for a full weekend of races, 2 races, in fact, from McLaren Trophy America. We get double the fun here as we see the cars taking their place on the grid. We'll run you through the starting order in just a moment. Plenty of storylines to talk through. There's been plenty of shuffles and changes in the offseason as well. We've seen new teams, Rafa Racing among them, and they've had a pretty decent showing as well. We mentioned the fans in attendance. They've been all smiles, and they've had a ton of action to enjoy throughout the course of this weekend. This single-make McLaren Championship, chief among them. These cars are such a joy. They have so much power, sometimes making lap times comparable to GT3 cars, even though they look like GT4 cars. They're specially built by McLaren for this purpose. This championship debuted a couple of years ago with some successful competition over in Europe, and they've brought it stateside for us, and it's been gracing us with some racing action all the way through. Some incredible liveries as well from Rafa Racing, from RWE Motorsports. We've had huge expansions from Forte Racing this year. OMS has joined the grid, Tech Sport, Flying Lizard, you name it. There's names up and down the order to enjoy. But we have a lot to enjoy here, and the fans certainly do as well. Sonoma Raceway opened its doors to fans, at least for racing, in 1969, but they broke ground in 1968. The first race was a couple months later, and we've been racing here ever since. You can see those beautiful, iconic McLaren doors all the way up as the cars just rolling into their grid positions. So cool to see these cars in action here. With that, let's introduce one of the other members of our commentary team patrolling pit lane. It's Amanda Busick, and she's on the grid.
Hey, Jonathan, and welcome into the series as well to you. You probably know why I picked this as my first interview down here. Patrick Liddy in his first full-time season with McLaren Trophy. And I know you were in some races last year, but coming in with that experience, how can that be an advantage for you, Patrick?
Well, really excited to be joining Tanner Harvey again for this year, full season, and we've jumped up to the pro class. So we had a great time last year. We got 1 overall win at Indy, a lot of success, love the program, and looking forward to getting some wins, hopefully, this weekend and throughout the season.
Any words to the guy you went to high school with that's up there in that booth?
I remember talking to Jonathan a few years ago, and he said, man, this motorsport thing seems cool. I want to get into it. And now I can wave to him up there. Hopefully he has something nice to say about me during this race.
Best of luck to you both this season.
Thank you.
Always great to chat with Patrick Liddy. It's been a pleasure to be able to come up through the racing ranks, kind of alongside him as well. And he is absolutely one of the quickest in the business. I always remember him back in high school as one of the cool kids that got to race spec Miatas with one of my college counselors. I think that's pretty neat that he's made his way into the racing championship. Amanda, though, has found some other members of the racing paddock, and she's back on the grid.
And I got the guy that will lead this McLaren pack to the pole. What was the secret of finding that speed around Sonoma?
You know, this place is a lot of fun. It's a driver's racetrack. It's very technical, and you've got to kind of send it through a good half of these corners, so it's a lot of fun.
Let's go and get your co-driver over here, Miss Kia. Come on.
Kaya.
Welcome into this season as well. What's been the experience at Sonoma so far for Kaya?
It's been so much fun. This is my first time here, so our first time was like testing 2 weeks ago, and I've had a great time. It's a really tricky technical track, so just trying to figure it out every lap.
Good luck to this pairing today. And Jonathan, you may want to go ahead and break through some of the classes we'll sit out here today, and then I'll find you some more drivers down here.
Thanks, Amanda. Always great to hear from some of the members of the grid. One of the beautiful things about McLaren Trophy is the mix between experience and those cutting their teeth in motorsport, those who this might be their first proper race car. But you mentioned the classes. Let's go through some of them now. We have 3 for you here in McLaren Trophy America. We have Pro, Pro-Am, and Am. And the beautiful thing is the way this class structure is set up is there's no guarantee that the Pro cars will win overall. It's often Am cars, it's often Pro-Am cars that tend to come to the fore, and that's such an exciting thing here. We saw that in qualifying as well. Paul Holton setting the fastest lap in qualifying 1 in his Pro class car, but right behind was Schmidt in the RWE Motorsports. It was a Pro car, a Pro-Am car, and a Pro car as well. We mentioned the breadth of driving talent. One of the legends is down with Amanda on the grid now.
And Johnny O'Connell will be racing in that AM class today. Tried to take me out on a golf cart as we headed to pit lane here today. But Johnny, when I talked to McLaren, I was like, so who do you guys want me to talk to on the grid? They said, go find that legend, Johnny O'Connell. How much do you like that word?
You know, it's nice. I've had a really long career. Really missed being in the car last year. You know, I had neck surgery, and so still a little bit rusty, but, you know, really, you know, excited to be with Flying Lizard. Learning how to drive these McLarens. They really build a great race car. Now I just got to learn what it likes, you know, in the cockpit and how to tune it. But really excited to be back, and hopefully we're going to have a great season.
What do you love about this McLaren?
Well, it's got, you know what? It's a tight car. You know, it's very precise. I think they did a really good job of keeping all the cars equal. It's kind of cool to have push to pass. You know, and then, you know what, going back to a 2-driver format is really fun. Driver changes are really fun. You know, when you do something like this and you get in, you know, you do a driver change and you get in, your tires are hot and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. There are a lot of great challenges, and like I said, we're shaking off some rust, but hopefully it goes well.
Great to see you back, champ.
Great to be back.
You going to be in those jeans if we see you at the end of the season at the championship dinner?
Yeah, well, you know, everybody knows I like to dress fancy, so whatever it takes.
Have fun.
Right on.
Thanks, Amanda. I think Johnny O'Connell has earned the right to dress just about however he pleases when he's outside of the fire suit. He's one of the best in the business, and absolutely such a treat to have him here on the McLaren Trophy grid. We mentioned the cars, the machinery that these drivers will be competing in. This McLaren Artura Trophy Evo got an update from the edition that launched in Europe just a couple years ago. Some technical changes by the fine folks at McLaren. The addition of a push-to-pass system. We'll talk about that later because that's going to be a huge factor in this race going favor. But meanwhile, Amanda Busick has continued patrolling pit lane, and she's down there with John Capestro-Dubetz.
Catching up with another champion, JCD, down here, and you know some secrets around Sonoma. What are you going to pass on to your co-driver?
You know, it's his first debut race, so it's really about just being comfortable, get out there, get some laps in, see where it kind of takes us. I'm really proud of him. He's put in a lot of work in the off-season, and yeah, it's time for him to go have some fun and enjoy all that hard work.
Seen you hopping around the pits here this weekend, but about 500 feet that way, there's a McLaren hospitality that just makes you just want to stop and stare. Talk about the hospitality that McLaren brings.
Oh, McLaren kills it with the hospitality. It's a lovely suite, from the AC to the coffee and the first-class food, and you know, always the company. They know how to really put on the face, and yeah, it's just an honor to be a part of it and get to go in there and enjoy this racetrack.
Good luck today to JCD, and welcome back to McLaren Trophy America here for the second season in the SRO America paddock. We're about to get started.
Thanks, Amanda. Just moments away, and we can welcome in my co-commentator as well. About a minute and a half from the command, Tom. The first couple rounds of the season. It was such a successful North American debut, and we get to do it all again on a gorgeous weekend.
Exactly. Sunny weather. This is what we came to California for. We didn't get it last year. We got rain. Made us feel like we were at home. But yeah, fantastic weather. New season, new possibilities, new driver combinations. It's going to be exciting.
What are you excited for, Morse? There's a lot that's new on the grid between teams and drivers and combinations, like you mentioned.
All of that. It's you know, I can't pick one out at the moment. It's like the first day of school. Everyone's trying to figure it out and see where the competitive order is and all those kind of things. So it's going to be interesting.
That it will. We were talking the viewers through some of the machinery that these drivers are going to be competing in this McLaren Artura Trophy Evo. Such a special bit of kit. We have the push-to-pass element in there. We're just moments away from the command. We'll continue to run through just a moment. But before that, let's talk through the circuit that these drivers will be going around. 2.52 miles up here in Northern California, 11 grueling turns, and some of the most technical in the business as well. We can see the run up down towards turn 1, a very technical and tight sector 1, 160 feet of elevation, 174 feet, drops all the way down to 14 feet at turn 10, and that's the lowest point in the circuit. Not a lot of long passing opportunities, which makes it tricky, and that'll be a fun thing to contend with as well. You can see the officials on the grid. We're just moments away from giving the command to start engines. And there they are, those beautiful engines roaring to life. The McLaren doors have closed. It's almost go time, Tom. What are you most excited for?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how number 11, so we got Tommy Pintos as one of our GT3 drivers. He's partnered up with Spencer Schmidt in that car, and they've qualified front row, so that's going to be an interesting one in the Pro-Am side. Cooper Broll, solo out, he's qualified 4th, one to look out for. Johnny O'Connell will be starting, he'll be in car 29 in the second half of the race, so, you know, motorsport royalty, so got to keep an eye on how he gets on. And I think Colin Harrison, he had a bit of an issue with the transponder in qualifying, so he's actually starting on the back row. He's running in the AM class, but he actually won the race here last year, so plenty of places to, and plenty of cars to keep an eye on to see them coming through the field and see where they end up. Another one is Dennis Tierman and Jeff Cook. They're going to be a bit of a dark horse as well. So. Absolutely.
Well, I think the beautiful thing about this season is the reigning Pro Class champions. We've changed the lineup there. We've added a lot of new drivers. Some drivers have switched teams. You mentioned Tommy Pintos. He's gone over to RWE Motorsports. We'll take a look at the starting grid in just a moment, but Colin Harrison likely to carve his way through the field. It's Spencer Schmidt sharing the front row with pole sitter Paul Holton. Cooper Broll starting 4th with James Lee for company. Your reigning Pro Class champion driver just ahead. Keegan Massey in 5th, Scott Sorborough in 6th. It's Greystone GT in Ryan James, who was in 7th. Alex Pollard with RWE in 8th. Fabio Greco in his first season of professional competition in 9th with Tanner Harvey. He'll be mighty quick alongside Philip Blockus in the number 29. In 11th, Dennis Tillman in 12th. Randy Highland, an interesting weekend for him on the grid. We go to the 7th and 8th row of the grid. It'll be Neil Langberg. He is starting in 14th. 15th position, the OMS car of Steven Sorborough, and Colin Harrison in the number 21 car, the Tech Sport Machine. We talked about the push-to-pass system. I have a feeling he'll be on the button bright and early to try to carve his way through the field.
I think you're right, yeah. He's going to look to make some moves early and try and get through some of those slower drivers. As I said, he's slightly out of a position, so I think he's going to be looking to jump ahead of Steven Sorborough and Neil Langberg as quick as he possibly can there. But, yeah, plenty to look out for in this field. And we've got a couple of imports from the European Championship as well, so we'll talk a little bit about them as the race gets going. But
absolutely, but one of the best in the business, at least in McLaren machinery historically, and Paul Holton, that beautiful green car from Forte Racing, expanding from 2 cars last season up to a mighty 4-car challenge in a stable this year. That gorgeous McLaren 750S safety car peeling off as they have paired up 2 by 2. It is almost time to go racing. Paul Holton, Spencer Schmidt alongside the front row. James Lean, Cooper Broll just behind. Cooper chasing a AM class title this year, and he's going to try to do it by himself. But Paul Holton will have command of the field as he awaits the start and the command. And they enter the restart zone. He will effectively be the green flag, and we're racing in Sonoma. It's a great start already for the 74 car behind, but Paul Holton has jumped out to an early lead, and Spencer Schmidt is going to have his hands full with James Lee as they climb the hill. Cooper Broll and Keegan Massey behind. Scott Sorborough trying to make up places. And look at James Lee all over the back of that black RWE Motorsport machine. They have to be careful. The number 1 rule in racing is don't hit your teammate. Some tussling further back in the field as everyone trying to navigate this tricky and technical elevation-filled first sector cleanly. And look for the flashing of the lights. That's the indication of the push to pass. Paul Holton still leads the field. You can see some of those lights flashing already, moves being made further back in the field, but crucially, it appears as if we've gotten through the first sector cleanly. Keegan Massey trying to make up places on Cooper Broll. We're seeing movement further back from Dennis Tillman. Massey, the highest place of our Papaya Cup competitors. We'll talk more about that class structure as well. Look at this, Rafa Racing wheel to wheel. Might be their first season on the McLaren Trophy grid, but it doesn't seem to matter. Going up the inside, Keegan Massey with Cooper Broll all in his mirrors. And And they go through turn 7 and 7A, a tricky section of this very technical racetrack side by side, but they do it cleanly. Now riding on board with James Lee, one of the 2 members of your reigning Pro Class Championship car in that Lightning McLaren, one of the best liveries on the grid. They enter the chicane for the first time and appear to do so cleanly, single file, as Lee now trying to gain just a little bit of a gap as he sets his sights on Paul Holton in front. Lee has jumped up to 2nd place on this opening lap, Tom.
Yeah, I was just watching Keegan Massey ran a little bit wide then and gave Cooper Broll a chance to almost come alongside. So we need to see how that fares out and whether he's managed to pull along. But James Lee was almost, this is a carbon copy almost of last year. He was running second behind James Sofronis, and he was very early on the push to pass just to try and get that track position and then pull a gap away. So he's employing the same strategy this year by the looks of it to try and gain that lead position. But and it seems to have done the job.
And that is James Lee to the 4 right away. Schmidt, it's an RWE 1-2 right off the bat. Look at that. Cooper Broll now in a podium potential spot. Keegan Massey, the highest place of the Papaya Cup competitors.
So where has Paul Holton gone to then?
He's jumped, at least in the timing and scoring feed, all the way to the bottom. We'll wait to see if that is true or not. If so, it is a huge, huge drop for him. Started on pole position, has been consistently the fastest driver right from the get-go. But if James Lee does in fact have clean air, he does not. So Paul Holton is still at the front of the field. You can see on the pictures now, Paul Holton definitely leading. It looks to be maybe just a transponder issue, but Paul has pulled out a little bit of a gap over James Lee. But here comes James, and here's an issue of how much do you push in the early stint, how much are you on the button to try to gain that track position, because you have to leave a little bit in the tank for your teammate once we do hit our mandatory round of pit stops.
Exactly, and you know, Paul Holton might be new to the championship, but he's not new to this car, and he's not new to racing, is he? So he's got his wits about him, so he's not going to be an easy pushover to try and close that gap down for James. So he's got his work cut out, I think, but it makes it more and more interesting for us.
Absolutely. Paul, no stranger to the McLaren brand as well. He's been around a while in Papaya, hasn't he?
He has been, yeah, and I believe he did a bit of the early work on the trophy car, so he's very familiar with the package that he's got underneath him.
Well, it's a mighty package as well. 577 brake horsepower, up to 612 when that push to pass is active. James Lee sitting in second place, still trying to chase down Paul Holton, but he's got Spencer Schmidt for company, who's fallen just about 2.7 seconds back. The field is stabilized, at least for the time being. Nice to see everybody get through turn ones cleanly. You mentioned the difference in conditions last year to this year. We are dealing with rainfall and some slick conditions. Not the case here. Sunny skies in California, early 80s. We're going to get another look in just a moment from just a couple of moments ago at turn 2. And oh, that's a heavy wiggle from a couple different cars. We saw Spencer Schmidt first get loose, and then Cooper Broll got loose as well as they went just a little bit offline. Those marbles can be so slippery, Tom.
Absolutely. It looks like Cooper did manage to hold that position, but scary moment for him.
He certainly did. It's so easy to get it so wrong there. We saw Spencer actually into the marbles first and got quite a bit of understeer, had to correct, and then Cooper Broll, I think, going off in sympathy, but kept the nose clean, as has everybody else. It appears that that gap at the front of the field, though, for James Lee is shrinking, but Cooper Broll is on the charge. In that number 100 machine there, you can see on your screen, there's James Lee. And what a livery it is. Carrying over that livery from last year, was a fan favorite. It says Kachow on the side of the car, the Lightning McQueen, the Lightning McLaren livery for James Lee. And he's been a nice bit of consistency in that team from one season.
Exactly, yeah, as you say, fan favorite, that livery. It stands out very nicely. But he's got a new teammate in the shape of Sam Nesser, who raced with us in Europe last year. Partnered up with the Greystone GT team to run it, and was a race winner. I think they got their first win at Monza, so he's no stranger to this car as well. So but he came over to Monza came over to Indianapolis end of last year to get a feel for the championship, and clearly liked it because he's stuck around for a whole year.
And we're glad he has lent his talents here to the North American leg of this McLaren Trophy Championship. So neat as well that we can see these cars race across multiple continents. But it was a heck of a season last year. We saw the championship fight go all the way down to the wire, and it's a spin for the number 5, Dennis Thielman. And And he spun just again. Local yellows there. You can see the dust kicked up. Some cars will catch him off into the grass and trying to get that McLaren corralled and back on course, and did a nice job of doing so. These cars produce a lot of power once they spin. It's not an easy task to get it flipped around and going again. Tillman did a nice job of doing that, and crucially not impacting, it appears, anybody's race, at least from the pictures that we saw, but that's going to cost him only time at the moment.
Yeah, he's dropped back to second to last there, but it looks to be quite dusty offline and off track. And actually, Kevin Madsen was telling me that actually offline there's quite a bit of rubber that is, you know, it's a lot of pickups going to slow you down. So it's very much a case of keeping it on the black stuff and keeping it where it needs to be.
We've had a lot of running over the course of the weekend between various series. These tires are getting a huge workout. The Pirelli compounds, there's lots of Pirelli rubber laid all over the racetrack from a bunch of different types of cars, a bunch of different series. And when you have a rubber line, you tend to have a greasier offline as well. Let's take a replay and look at what happened just a few moments ago. And there's Tillman just going a little bit wide into the dirt and then rolling the car backwards. It'd be so tough if you're unsighted as well, trying to get that car straight. Here's a look on board. These phenomenal onboard shots we have this year, narrowly missing some other traffic. Good on him, though, for not impacting anybody else's race, getting back onto the track cleanly. He can continue, albeit from further down.
Yeah, that was Colin Harrison who was just behind him, so maybe he was defending a little bit, but looked like he just sort of missed the apex by a little bit and ran wide on exit, and that's what did it for him. But Colin Harrison now up to 10th from second to last, so he's making pretty decent progress, but now it's going to get harder for him because he's into the faster AMs and the pros.
That he is. A couple cars fairly off the pace as well. Sobero from OMS and the number 49 AM entry shown on an outlap, made an unscheduled trip through pit lane. That cost quite a bit of time here. Pit speed limit 45 seconds. And look at this pack of cars fighting for position, banging doors, just narrowly avoiding contact. And that was the 22 car doing battle there.
Well, that was Scott Sabara there, Steven Sabara that we were just talking about in the 49. So it looked like he was doing his best to keep out of the way of a very busy pack of cars coming through, led by the number 22, which is the Greystone GT car of Ryan James, who was last year's Pro-Am champion in Europe. They've come over to do a couple of races, and that's Fabio Greco just running a little bit wide of the chicane.
It is, but trying to make that move stick, holding securely on to 8th place in the number 15 McLaren, about 20 seconds down off of the car in front, off the lead as it's shown. At the head of the field, James Lee still leads Spencer Schmidt, Cooper Brull, 3 different class cars in the top 3. And there's a good look right there as they cross the start-finish line.
Don't forget Paul Holton there, he's
Paul
still
Holton,
there.
Absolutely. Transponder issue not showing him in the lead of the race, but he certainly is controlling the field. He's got 2 RWE cars for company behind, but this is the battle at the moment that has our attention.
This is a battle for 6th place overall. So as I said, Ryan James there leading Alex Pollard, who's new to the championship, new to the car, and new to Raceworks, but doing a pretty decent job there. And just behind we've got Tanner Harvey in the 24, which is run by Forte. So 3 cars, and what's the gap between them? Not a lot.
No, and Tanner Harvey, we know how quick he's been when he came on the scene and did a partial season at the end of last year with Patrick Liddy. Look at all of them flashing the lights on the bush to pass, just trying to use it both for attacking and defending. See James just fading to the inside, and as they duck down now into 7A, you set up for the S's. And this is such a crucial part of the racetrack. Tanner Harvey will be trying to pick up the scraps behind if he can help it, but Ryan James is going to have his hands full. They go down now through 8 and 8A into a really excellent passing opportunity. We see them on our pictures now, filing in a defensive line a little bit wide through 9, kicking up some dust, but they continue and they make it through cleanly, if by a hair, a fraction of an inch. Tom, it's getting super, super close as they're getting antsy and trying to gain track position before the end of this first stint.
Exactly, but this is a tricky situation for drivers. You've got to take your opportunity when you get it, but if you make a small mistake, you're going to be pounced on by the guys behind. So it's a difficult situation, but Tanner is he's stalking them both there pretty well. He's looking to potentially make a move on Alex. He's moved up class this year, so when they joined the championship mid-season last year, they were actually running Pro-Am with Patrick Liddy, but this year they've moved up to the Pro class. Tanner having a new challenge of trying to compete with the very top drivers in the championship, and so far he's acquitting himself pretty well.
I would completely agree. He's had to get up to speed and get up to speed quickly, but he's done a nice job of it. He's been up to the task, and you can see it. It's a very mature drive right now. It can be so difficult to try to be impatient or balance where you have to be patient. In a track like Sonoma, where there's not a lot of obvious passing opportunities, you might have to get a little bit creative. The straightaways here are not all that lengthy, so you have to pick your moments. You have to set up runs in the sequence of corners before, and this might be another one here. Tanner Harvey just right on the back of Alex Pollard as they hit the brakes into 7, go wide and arc that line back into 7A to set up again for the S's at the top of the hill. One of the most fun and beautiful sections of this track. It's a little bit of a lengthier gap now for Ryan James. Still holding station in 6th place overall. But look at the run from Tanner Harvey. Is this going to be close enough to try to sneak a look down the inside? I think he might be just a little bit too far back, but once again, slightly overcooking the entrance into 9 was Ryan James, and now they fan out just a little bit as they set up for 10. Another passing opportunity into 11, this short run down. You can see them fanning out, just trying to have a sniff. But a defensive line for Ryan James holds the position for the time being.
As you say, it's a circuit that doesn't have any or many natural overtaking places. So it's as a driver, you've got to put pressure on and hope that you can take advantage when someone makes a little bit of a mistake. And they're all so close that any slip up will be punished. And you know, as we saw earlier, when Ryan James a little bit deep into that chicane, they all closed up, and the 15 car joined them as well. So it went from a 3 into a 4.
And in many ways, Tanner Harvey might be in the best position here. Sometimes if the two drivers in front of you can fight and squabble over position, all they're doing is losing each other time. If you can stick to the racing line, reel off some quick laps, you're in an opportune position to try to pick up the scraps. You can see them trying to be careful on the push to pass and how much they use it. That's a strategic element in this race as well. You're not only managing pace, not only managing tires, you're managing that allocation as well.
Exactly, but you only get 300 seconds of that for the entire race, so you don't want to use too much because you want to make sure you've got some left over for the end of the race, and especially for those people who are sharing their car. Alex Pollard is not one of those, so he will know acutely well how much push to pass he will have used over the course of the race. But when Ollie Webb gets into that car, he's not going to have much of an idea of how much is left until he's got that got behind the wheel. So.
And you may have noticed on your pictures just a few months ago, not only flashing the LED lights for the push to pass, but flashing the high beams as well, trying to cause a little bit of a distraction for the driver in front. Ryan James, unfazed at the moment, makes it cleanly into 9. But look at Tanner Harvey, how much he's closed up on the back end of Alex Pollard on that occasion. And they run line astern, 1, 2, 3, defensive line immediately from James. Onto the racing line is Pollard, and Harvey behind, just shoving that Papaya McLaren around turn 11. And look at the run out towards turn 1. Really, really difficult to try to make any kind of a move here. Takes a higher line. You can't get too brave into one because it's such a high commitment area of the track. It's so difficult to make a pass in this first sector, but you can set yourself up nicely for a good run down through 6 and 6A, as we'll see later in the lap.
Tanner's really piling the pressure on in that final sector. For the last 3 or 4 laps, he's been on the push to pass, exiting that chicane. As soon as he's on the power, he's got the push to pass going, and he's just closing straight up to Alex and putting a lot of pressure on him. But Alex is doing a very good job of absorbing that pressure and still taking the fight to Ryan.
It's one of the fun things you see in single make championships where everybody is in identical machinery. They can run darn near identical lap times, and we're seeing a great example of it here. A battle in the middle of the field for 6th, or 7th, and 8th, and 9th, and just how close it is. You would think this is a battle for the race win.
Exactly. It's what we want.
Look at Tanner Harvey just fading to driver's left and trying to take that shallower line. Is it too wide? It might be for Alex Pollard, and Tanner Harvey is going to duck up inside the number 24. He's going to bring Forte Racing up a position, but did he sacrifice his run down the hill? I don't think he did. He can now set his sights on Ryan James in front. Not a battle for overall position because they're in different classes, but either way, the M-Class car of Pollard and the M-Class car, the Pro Class car of Tanner Harvey, can now set their sights on trying to improve their position over the number 22 of Ryan James, still at the front of this little trio, and the two of them have broken away. Meanwhile, a little bit of a snap and a slide for your race leader, Paul Holton, out to a 3-second or some change lead. Paul has controlled this race nicely. There's something to be said for not opening up too much of a gap and just controlling your pace, because you do need to turn over a good race car to your teammate as well. But Paul doing a really good job of managing the pace. He's been the clear leader in terms of pace throughout this weekend. But James Lee has not gone anywhere from this equation. He is right there hunting him.
He is. Just across the line earlier was that battle with Ryan James and Tanner Harvey, and Tanner is really pushing him. So he's got the bit between his teeth. He needs to get a wriggle on because his next rival is running third, and that's Spencer Smith. So he needs to try and close that gap down before they get into the pit stop window, just to give Patrick Liddy, his teammate, a bit of a chance. But Spencer will be handing over to Tommy Pintos, so two very quick drivers.
And Tanner Harvey has gotten to the front of this battle, and now he can open up the pace and clean air, but has it compromised Ryan James? Has he fallen into the clutches of the 47? Alex Pollard, learning from his mistakes a few laps ago, takes the inside line, but pumps the brakes just a little bit to not chop the nose off the 47, thinking better of it, trying to set himself up a nice run down into 8 and 8A. Maybe a passing opportunity into the chicane, but the 22 has gone off and spun into the grass. Does not make contact with anybody else, but that's what happens when you push through such a difficult section of the track. A remarkable save there, it has to be said, from Ryan James. But a spot earned. Alex Pollard has forced James into a mistake. He'll get that position by default. And the 22 will get itself back on track, running just a little bit wide there. Does he maybe have an issue after that spin?
I don't think he's got an issue. He did have a bollard stuck under the car though, so that became loose when he went wide a little bit there. So he's now obstruction free, but he did have to lock up his tyres then. So I'm just wondering, I'm hoping for his sake that they're not flat spotted too much, because you can't change your tyres in your pit stop. It's just driver changes. So
those Pirellis have to go the distance. Tom, we are approaching the beginning of that pit stop window. You mentioned some of these drivers will hand over to a teammate, some will not, but that changes the amount of time you stay stationary in pit lane.
Yeah, well, the first the first race we won't have to apply any success seconds. So as the races go on, we apply we've got a replay of the incident then, so we'll just have a look at that.
Yeah, through the S's, and you could see the pressure that Pollard was putting on, and just a little bit overcooked on entry. You could hear the squealing of the Pirelli tires just giving way as they demanded a little bit too much. There's a lot of power in these McLaren Artura Trophy Evos. They're difficult things to wrangle. At times at certain circuits, the sector times are just about even with some of the GT3 cars, and others they're closer to GT4. It's a beautiful middle ground. It's a great bespoke platform that McLaren have developed, but they're really genuinely challenging race cars to drive.
Oh, they are. I was talking to Johnny O'Connell yesterday, and he was saying he's really enjoying driving these cars. It's quite a forgiving car, but gives you what you need as a driver. So nothing but good things to say, which is what we wanted to hear.
Well, Paul Holton continues to lead the field over James Lee, who you just saw flash across your screen, and there's the view aboard the number 74. The RWE Motorsports car has its sight set on repeating a championship for the car and the driver aboard it right now, James Lee, a new teammate for this year, but chasing down one of the best in the business. When we look on board here in these incredible pictures, you can see a lot of the telemetry. You can see the brake trace and how they feed on feather off the brake and apply the power. You can see the gears, you can see the throttle trace, you can see the steering inputs, and around a place that's as twisty and turny and tight and technical as Sonoma. This is such a treat to be able to see what the driver is experiencing, the view out their windshield. You can see James Lee working and jostling around inside his 6-point safety harness in there, and all the things that he has to contend with as he slams on the brakes into 9, makes the direction change, puts that car flat over the curbs in 9A, which is the favorable way to do it. You can see all the tire rubber there, setting up through a kink in 10 before you set the car up, straighten it, back on the brakes in just a moment for turn 11. And this is a long patience corner. Carry as much speed, as much momentum as you can into that corner before you set up the main straightaway.
There's one bar graph in there that we haven't talked about, and that's the yellow one. That's the push to pass. So we can see that James has only used, or he's got 288 seconds. Yeah, 288 left. 300 seconds. How does that work?
Pretty incredible. I think he's been very, very ginger with it, and that's going to leave his teammate a whole bunch of room to play with. We knew that the pit stop window was coming. The door has now opened. We have some early takers.
We do. Jeff Cook will be taking over the car, number 5 GMG car from Dennis Tierman. That was the first car in, and just behind number 7, their GMG teammate. So Randy Hyland will be handed over to JCD, who will take over. He was a race winner here last year. Certainly knows how to drive a car.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to be one to watch.
Spencer Schmidt bringing his RWE machine in as well. This is a part of the car, of course, and a part of the race where a lot of time can be gained or lost for safety reasons. There is a minimum and a maximum time that you're allowed to stay in pit lane, but of course you can check the pressures in the Pirellis, but like you said, you're not allowed to change them. And this is where you get to see how kind of a race car your teammate has handed over to you. And I love the features that McLaren have maintained, those iconic doors. It makes it a challenge to get in and out. It's challenging to get in and out of any race car with the roll cages and safety equipment in there, but I love just watching them slide in there and how much artistry goes into the driver changes. The driver coming out will be immediately on the pit wall providing feedback and notes as to what the competitors are doing, but most importantly, what the car is doing and how it's behaving. Door is shut, and now they wait for that time to wind down, get the thumbs up. So great to see these live looks at just what goes into a pit stop. The 53 also making it stop. Neil Langberg for the relapsing polychondritis by Forte Racing car. Absolutely stunning livery, getting a little bit of help out there and just sliding in.
Yeah, so that's Kevin Madsen taking over that role. They've been teammates for a couple of years now, so they've got a nice rhythm with them. And yeah, Kevin now running as a pro, was previously bronze rated, so ran as an AM last year. But yeah, he's quite rapid, so so they had to upgrade him. And he's going to be starting tomorrow's race on the front row. So.
That he is. We had 2 qualifying sessions this morning to set the grids both for this race and the race that we will see tomorrow. You can hear the shout coming over the natural sound mics, 40 seconds. That means go, go, go as soon as that minimum time is up. The engines fire. We'll wait the go-ahead as soon as the mechanics give you the okay that there is no traffic in the way to contend with. So the last thing you want to do is get into trouble there. Look at Rafa Racing, another welcome addition, and boy, how they've exploded onto the global sports car scene, especially here in North America, taking part in so many different series. It's so exciting to see that they've chosen to go racing in McLaren Trophy America as well. There's your first place car, your leader, Paul Holton, continuing to tick away the lap times. The best lap so far of a 1:38.958. James Lee, though, has very, very closely matched that behind, sitting about 1.6 seconds back on the road. He has continued to close that gap and reel in Paul Holton, and crucially has done that, as it appears from the onboard telemetry we saw a couple of minutes ago, without using too much of that push to pass, and I think that's going to pay dividends in the second part of this race. This is where Paul really needs to focus forward, reel off as quick of lap times as he can in that Forte Racing machine to try to give he and his teammate the best chances of victory here. But it's pro cars running 1-2. We have AM cars running in the 3rd through 4th positions as well, as the Flying Lizard Motorsports car with Plakis decides to take to pit lane. But the front 2 still fighting it out on track. You see a big wiggle, snap of oversteer from the 74 as he is fighting and trying to catch Paul. We ride on board again. Hasn't used another second of push to pass. How about that? Just doing it on pure pace. I think this is pretty impressive.
He's doing very well. And that last lap, he really closed the gap. The last 2 sectors, he reeled in Paul by 3 or 4 tenths each sector. So that gap has really come down. He's got the bit between his teeth. Can he make the move before the pit stop? I think Paul's probably going to run this out as long as he can to hand over to Kaya. So the pit window is between 20 and 30 minutes. So there's a 10-minute window. Each driver can do no more than 30 minutes in the car. But obviously if Paul runs to the end of that, he will do 30 minutes and hand over to Kaya to do the final 20.
Here's a look at Alex Pollard. Had his hands full early on and is now got the number 21 of Colin Harrison's Tech Sports Racing machine for company. 5 cars we believe have not made their pit stops yet. That's Paul Holton, James Lee, Keegan Massey in the 812, Alex Pollard, and Cooper Broll. And Colin Harrison, who you're seeing on your screens there. There's Cooper Broll aboard the 100, has made his pit stop. No co-driver there, so he's just got to stay stationary, meet the minimum time. A really interesting challenge for Cooper this year to try to chase an AM-class title. He's going to do it all by himself. He had Tommy Pintos for company last year.
He did. I mean, Cooper's relatively new to racing, so he's did a little bit of touring car stuff a couple of years ago. Raced with us last year with Tommy, as you said. Now gone solo. But what I would say is about the solo drivers. They know the car from having started the race. So they can run through, they know exactly where they are. And you've got Cooper Broll in that situation, Colin Harrison, Alex Pollard.
So as we see that, James Lee has decided to take to pit lane. Great camera work there from inside the pits. As we get to see a full 360 view just about. of that Lightning McLaren livery. As they make the handover, so much artistry as Sam Nesser climbs aboard. The British teammate you mentioned has done some racing in these cars in Europe, is now lending his talents to North American competition. The engineers strapping him in. One of the beautiful features of endurance racing and sports car racing, GT racing, just how much goes into a driver change. It's a drinks bottle, it's a radio, it's a transponder, it's an ID chip, it's all the belts, it's the cooling suit, the drinks bottle, all of these different things that have to get unplugged, replugged, the safety harnesses. It all has to be safe. The window netting up, the door closed. And on top of that, you're trying to deliver some notes to your teammate in the meantime, saying, hey, the car's doing this, the car's not doing that. As we get a look at Paul Holton's teammate, Kaya Teo, who was driven in McLaren machinery in the GT4 capacity, but new to these cars. It's been a learning curve for her this weekend, but she's got a great teacher to learn from in Paul Holton.
Exactly. I think she's adapted very well. So she's certainly going to be one to watch as the season progresses and see how she gets on.
So 3 cars now yet to make their pit stops. Your leader, Paul Holton, the number 812 Rafa Racing team of Keegan Massey, won today another SRO competition, and Alex Pollard in the other RWE machine, the 47, who was engaged in a bunch of battles earlier on in the first section of this race. That pit window not closed yet, but just a couple minutes more. But I think if I'm Paul Holton in the lead, my pace is good. I'm going to continue to try to chip away at the lap times. But how much of that push to pass do you use? How much do you want to get on the throttle and eat up the tires a little bit in favor of just trying to create a little bit of a gap for yourself by the time the 74 shuffles through and the pit cycle completes itself? And here's Pollard in pit lane.
I suppose that's probably the advantage of going second out in the car. You know, you can rinse the tyres. They can come back absolutely thoroughly used up and no push to pass, and absolutely get the most out of the car. But when you're first in the car, you've got to be a little bit more careful.
That's a point well made, Tom. The 47 now making its way down pit lane. Let's see the 8 of Paul Holton.
Fastest lap for JCD there. He's currently running in 14th, but I am not expecting him to stay there for very long. He's going to be coming through the field, I'm sure.
Yeah, we saw that how many times, it's hard to count, last year from John Capestro Dupatsy, one of the best in the business. And if you get him a task of putting on the horse blinders and reeling off some quick laps, he's going to do just that. I'm excited to see when he maybe catches up to the Flying Lizard machine of Johnny O'Connell, what that battle looks like, how much quarter the two of them are going to give each other. But either way, he's locked behind Jeff Cook and his GMG Racing stablemate. We see some tire pressures just being adjusted there on your screen. And finally, Paul Holton bites right at the end of the pit window. Now the 812 of Keegan Massey for Rafa Racing Team, the only car on the grid yet to make its final pit stop. Another look again with the 47. The valve stem cap going back on. A little bit of cooling air as well for the drivers inside. Paul Holton now pulls that car into the pit box, and Kaya Teo will have her stint aboard one of the best liveried cars on the grid. That Forte car looks absolutely stellar in the green and yellow.
It's got a lovely metallic finish to it as well, so definitely worth specking on your next McLaren.
Look at the seat insert going in as well. Kaya not quite as tall as Paul Holton, and so using a bit of a seat insert to level herself in terms of where the pedals are, the steering wheel is, all the control surfaces inside. You can see Paul Holton just tightening down some of the straps, some of the window netting, and getting her comfortable inside the car. Comfort and seat fit is such an important feature of being a racing driver. If there's a little pressure point, a spot that doesn't work, if you're sliding around in the seat, it's really difficult to focus on the task of actually driving the race car, which is of course the most important part of being out on track. And the seat fit, the seat inserts are all custom molded for comfort. The 8 now and Teo well away. We finally have the Rafa car in pit lane as well. So that's everybody completing their pit stop. But we have some messages from race control and a couple pit stops that might be under review. A drive-through penalty for car number 21 for a short pit stop time. That's exactly what you don't want to see. That's Colin Harrison and his Tech Sport machine, and he's someone that we were talking about expecting to carve his way through the field and make up a lot of ground. This is certainly not going to help his efforts.
Yeah, that's a shame, because he was doing quite nicely there, and I think he got himself into a decent position for the second half of the race, but that's going to undo any of his good work. We've actually at the moment still got Ryan James showing us in the 22 car, but if they have stopped, which they should have done because the pit stop window is now closed, that should actually be Ollie Webb, and he would be worth watching.
Absolutely would be. We'll wait until those transponders tick over with the new drivers. A couple of penalties have been awarded. See a graphic for that as well. Short pit stop results in a drive-through for car 21. That's Colin Harrison. He's not the only one, is he? We also saw the pit stop for the number 49 under review. That's Steven Sobro for OMS. Has had a little bit of time added to his pit stop as well. But when it all shuffles back out, we wait for Tio on her out lap. But James Lee did the initial stint in the number 74, having handed that car over to Sam Nesser for RWE Motorsport. Look to try to take control of the field. 3.02 seconds, just a tick over 3 seconds, the pit stop time for the 49. That's something that conceivably can be overcome. But an unscheduled trip down pit lane for Colin Harrison completes that penalty. Now we ride on board with GMG's Jeff Cook. 7th in AM in the number 5 car. Third in Papaya Cup. He's catching the back of Johnny O'Connell. That gap has come down considerably. The Flying Lizard Motorsport machine, Johnny O running second in the Papaya Cup. And explain to us what that is. It's a sub-championship that runs inside McLaren Trophy for some of our more seasoned veterans, shall we, in the field.
You've hit the nail on the head there. Yes, it's for a slightly older driver, the more seasoned driver, as you say. But it just gives them something to race for as well, particularly when they're partnered up with very quick pro drivers, as is the case with some of our driver entries. So it gives them something to aim for and a chance of some podium glory.
They get their own podium celebration as well. If they win the Papaya Cup, there's some celebrations that happen back at the McLaren Technology Center in the UK as well. It's a really special thing that McLaren offers.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a big award ceremony at the end of the year for the global awards for McLaren Trophy. We get everyone over to our home base, which for many people is the first time visiting, which it really is a very special place to go. And even if you're returning, it's still pretty cool to be on the boulevard and be next to Senna's winning McLaren and all those fantastic cars from our history.
Still pretty high on my bucket list as well. This gap has fallen considerably now, under half a second, just 7/10 as they cross the stripe, and now it updates to 3/10 of a second. Jeff Cook is all over the back of Johnny O'Connell, but it's so difficult to try to make a move through this first sector of the racetrack. They go side by side. Johnny O, ever the veteran, later on the brakes and keeps the 29 car just in front. That Flying Lizard still flying out front for the time being, but Jeff Cook and GMG hungry for that 11th position. Crucially, second as it stands in Papaya Cup as well, so there's some hardware on the line too.
Exactly. Jeff was on the outside and on push to pass there, so I think he fancied his chances, but Johnny's a seasoned campaigner, isn't he? He knows where to put the car to maintain position, so Jeff's going to have to work hard for this one.
Look at the difference in line as they come down through 6, and look at the run into 7. Is he going to pop to the inside? Yes, he is. Jeff Cook breezing by, late on the brakes, but did he overshoot 7? Does Johnny O have the opportunity for a cross under? Yes, he does. Johnny O's seen that trick before, and he's not going to let Jeff Cook slide with that one.
Done well there, but I think, it's probably a situation where Jeff needs to keep his head and apply the pressure and make the move when it counts. But again, he's on push to pass. He's coming up the inside now. Is he going to make it stick here? This could be a good one.
Going to try one more time, and that's as clean as it gets. The race stewards will tip the cap at that one. If you're going to make a slick pass up the inside, that's how you do it into 9A, one of the best passing opportunities on the track, and still using some of that push to pass to get a little bit further. Look at the inside line into 11 as well, but this was such a fun battle to watch for position. Jeff Cook stealing that 11th position away. Let's take another look at how this move developed, and this was the crossover from Johnny O'Connell inside and just overshot the entry by a little bit. So much tarmac, it can be so inviting to brake late. Good job there by the 5 car and Jeff Cook to just collect himself and focus forward on setting up that move into 9. That can be so difficult to let that get away from you.
Yep, he did very, very well there. So Jeff Cook and Dennis really impressed last year. They were running with Dark Horse Racing, a 1-car entry. Now they've moved over to GMG, who obviously been running a lot of cars and a lot of different championships, and they're benefiting from, I think, having a teammate in Randy Highland and JCD as well. So they're getting extra data and all the benefits of a slightly bigger team. So let's see how they can progress. But his next victim, shall we say, for Jeff will be Michael Steves in the Rafa Racing car.
Yeah, Michael Steves, the last taker, and that pit stop winner running at the 10th position. Fabio Greco, we got a look on it on the screen with Alex Pollard up the road. Pollard looking at Scott Sorborough in the OMS machine, and a bit of an OMS sandwich at the moment with Fabio just behind. And Alex trying to make a little bit of movement up the field. 8th at the moment, 3rd in the AM class. It's number 22 car, the Pro-Am Greystone GT entry. You were talking about Webb and his prowess early on and how fun he's going to be to watch. He's a little bit further up the road, but Sorborough right now, Scott Sorborough for OMS, has the 47 of Alex Pollard just starting to reel him in a little bit. 2.3 seconds is the gap, but that's falling and falling rapidly.
Yeah, it's tough to know where to look on the timing sheets, actually, because there's sectors being won and lost all over the place. Ollie Webb is making some good progress. Talking to him yesterday, this is his 148th track to have driven.
Unbelievable, yeah, my goodness.
He has an extensive list that goes to 4 pages on his Google Docs. So he's got another one ticked off this weekend. He's chasing down Patrick Liddy, who he was racing last weekend in Mazzana.
Yes, he was. Busy guy is Patrick Liddy.
Exactly. He actually did a few races in the Middle East with Tanner in a GT3 car over the winter months as well. So they've been keeping themselves fresh.
Yeah, Patrick Liddy is doing a great job of increasing his racing breadth in single make competition and GT3 competition. But let's take a look here at this battle. The 15, Fabio Greco, is just starting to reel in the 47, and they're both starting to catch the OMS car just in front of Scott Sorborough. So when are the two of them going to be in this equation? This is another situation where Alex Pollard might be the second car in a 3-car battle. Fabio Greco may be the benefactor here if Scott Sorborough continues, or as we presume he will be in a couple laps time, might be the cork in the bottle. This is for class position as well. This is for a class podium in AM. 7th on the road is Scott Sorborough at the moment, but Pollard and Greco are hot on his heels.
I'm just looking at the timesheets again. We are definitely going to be having a battle for second place overall, as Tommy Pintos is closing in lap by lap on Kayateo. That will just be for pride, though. It won't be for class position, because Tommy's already leading that class. Cooper Brawl running 4th overall, but first in the AM class, so he's looking pretty decent at the moment too.
Pollard holding station in 8th at the moment, 3rd in AM for RWE as we hop aboard McLaren Artura Trophy Evo. Get the G-forces as well for Jeff Cook. This is the GMG racing car. 6th in AM at the moment, 11th on the road. Just trying to chase down Michael Steves in that Rafa Racing Team McLaren. A little bit of a different line, thought about the outside, and look, goes way wide. He's trying to set up the S's, isn't he? Cuts short on 7A, and now he's all over the back of the 812. You can't catch him too quickly, otherwise you ruin your run. Has to drop back just a little bit. Look at the pace differential. The 812, the Rafa having to go way defensive, and then nearly into the back of him, and pumps the brakes. Will not attempt the move, but all the while, Jeff Cook has now got company right behind him as well, trying to get past the Rafa Racing Team at McLaren, and they go 3 wide. How about this?
Excellent. Jeff around the outside and Kevin Madsen coming up the inside.
Yeah, Kevin Madsen going with him, and now he wants a bite of Jeff Cook as well. But look at the run out of turn 11 onto the main straightaway that Jeff Cook was able to get. And now he's going to try to take that GMG McLaren and leap away from this battle and off into some clean air to try to set his sights on Fabio Greco, who was a little bit further up the road. 10 minutes remaining in this one. Absolutely no shortage of action. Leaders at the front of the field stay stable. But let's check in on one of the other battles that we've had here. Alex Pollard was in the middle of 2 OMS cars, and he stayed in the middle of 2 OMS cars. Fabio Greco maybe making just a little bit of an impression there, has closed that gap to just under 0.8 of a second. It was a little over a second last time we checked in. Alex Pollard sitting in 8th position on the road, 3rd position in AM in that beautiful papaya and black McLaren. Further back, John Cabestre-Dubetz, fastest lap of the race, has made moves on the Rafa machine as well, but Pollard continues to try to reel in Sorborough just ahead, and there is Sorborough, and you can see Pollard just lurking in the background of that shot. Boy, if I'm Scott Sorborough, you want to avoid driving in your mirrors as much as you can. in these final 10 minutes of the race. It's all about how much Pirelli tire do you have left, how much push to pass do you have left, how much do you have left in the tank to be tactful and defend.
Plenty to think about as the race comes into its final 9 minutes.
Meanwhile, further up, Cooper Broll, who leads an AM, has got Patrick Liddy for company. We mentioned how quick he has been. Driven all over the world in years of late. Came and did a partial season in McLaren Trophy America and did a heck of a job of it with Tanner Harvey. And now he is all over the back of the number 100 Forte Racing machine. You don't want to hit your stablemate, but Patrick Liddy thought about it. And the inside of 7A, they're going to set themselves up for a great run down through the S's. Such a technical and twisting, turning section of the racetrack. 9 and 9A, this upcoming chicane, a great opportunity to make a move. Patrick on the push to pass, thinks better of it, might try to set one up into the kink of 10 or the hard braking zone of 11, but he is all over the back of his Forte compatriot. And Patrick Liddy, the Southern Californian, trying to get it done here in Northern California. He's on the push to pass. But still, Cooper does a good job of defending, and then finally Patrick just sneaks his way to the inside. Did Cooper, realizing it was a different class car, maybe just give him a little bit of breath there?
There might have been teammates working together there. As you say, they're different classes, they don't need to fight. And from Cooper's point of view, you might learn a thing or two by following Patrick round and so close proximity. So
I know I certainly would. Patrick is one of the best in the business here. Cooper Broll still leading in the AM class. Patrick Liddy second in pro, now trying to set his sights on Tommy Pintos quite a bit further up the road. Still about 7.5 minutes to play with, and look at the gap already, just a little bit for the Forte driver, the number 24 Patrick Liddy, that beautiful light blue and dark blue Cypress livery on that car. We talked about the expanded effort for Forte Racing. It's great to see them invest in McLaren Trophy in that way. Just saying that they want to be on the grid. They want to make a statement. They want to win, and they want to win in a bunch of different classes. I think that's got to be a real big vote of confidence when you see a team with as much prowess as Forte Racing do just that. We take a look at Tommy Pintos and his RWE machine. He's in second place on the road, but he is leading in Pro-Am. He is 3.4 seconds back from the lead, but he is catching Kaya Teo. And Teo has her hands full now in trying to maintain her position. Second on the road behind Sam Nesser, who's leading overall. But Tommy Pintos is catching the 8 car, that's undeniable.
He was 8 tenths quicker than the second sector alone, so this is more a matter of when, not if.
We mentioned Tommy Pintos, who took 1.4 seconds out in that last lap, and James Lee and that number 74 Sam Nesser. Is that a tire issue? I think it looks like it is, or maybe something even more mechanical.
No, that's a puncture, but that's not good. That's very unfortunate.
Well, that's definitely not how that tire is supposed to look, and through goes the 8. Kaya Teo on the 74, who now is in some serious trouble, and just trying to limp that car back to pit lane. We've got a full course yellow. And as that yellow came out, we have cars spinning in turn 9 and 9A. This will neutralize the field as the race officials and the RWE machine just trying to nurse that back to pit lane.
Yeah, Sam's got his hands full trying to get that one back, and that wheel is destroying itself quite conclusively there. There's going to be a lot of debris on the circuit left for that one.
I think the tire has gone down maybe as a result of something mechanical. Either way, that car trying to be nursed back into pit lane. We had a look at one of the spinning cars. It was the number 21 Tech Sport. Troubled day for them, and a car with so much pace in it. I'm curious to see if they can rectify things in race 2. Colin Harrison is so quick. He knows his way around one of these Trophy Evo cars, and we can see just in front of us off picture that the 74 has come to rest at the exit of turn 9. It will require recovery. 4 minutes and 39 seconds to go in this race. The track workers here at Sonoma Raceway will do their best, and all of a sudden the 74 is fired back up and will try to muscle its way into pit lane as best as it can. But Colin Harrison surviving a spin right as the full course yellow came out, maybe caught out just a little bit by the timing. boy, this has thrown a stop to what was a couple of really exciting battles up and down the order. And I think right now the biggest benefactor, I suppose, is Kaya Teo, because Tommy Pintos was absolutely reeling her in. And she may be wanting to extend this full course yellow as long as humanly possible.
Yep, there's only 4 minutes left on the clock, so if she can run it out, she will have her first win. But if we do get 1 lap of racing in, then we've got Tommy Pintos right behind him, and Patrick, right behind her, and Patrick Liddy right behind Tommy Pintos, 2 very capable drivers. So it could be a rather epic dash to the flag.
That it absolutely could be, but field neutralized as it stands. So the 8 still leading the field behind the McLaren 750S safety car. And right now, if you're Tommy Pintos, how frustrated are you with the timing of the safety car, knowing that you were catching?
Well, you've got to put yourself into these positions. So Tommy's a pretty cool customer. He's been racing for long enough, despite his relatively young age. So I guess the benefit is he's right on her tail now. So he has caught her, but it's all going to come down to how quickly they can clear the track.
That's true, and the track workers working as diligently as they can.
It's, yes, just a case of whether they can clear the track in time before we count down to 0 on the clock.
So Tommy Pintos, who was making a splash, making an impression, he's got his mind on a title, I think, immediately in the Pro-Am class this year. Narrowly missed out last year. It went down to the wire, but RWE Motorsports coming away with it in the Pro class. Tommy Pintos now trying to get it done in the Pro-Am class this year. And Patrick Liddy, I think you can see just how close it is. We are going to get 2 laps, I think, of racing. And Kaya Teo will have her hands full and has actually nailed the restart. Look at that from Kaya Teo. She is off to the races, but she's got Tommy Pintos and Patrick Liddy for company. And just behind, there's already movements in the field.
That's Ollie Webb coming through as well. So you've got 3 seriously quick pro drivers all chasing down Kaya. So this is going to be a fantastic 2 laps to the end of the race.
Absolutely. Kaya Teo will be on as much push to pass as she has left, as she'll have her hands full. But holding line astern as the race has gone green. But here goes Tommy Pintos to the front of the field, and Patrick Liddy is going to try to go with him on the brakes. It's going to be a 2-for-1 special. Tommy Pintos takes control of the McLaren Trophy North America field, and Patrick Liddy has gone with him. It's Forte Racing, who has taken 2nd position. RWE Motorsports now to the 4. And now Patrick Liddy can start to think about a race win overall. He's already leading in the Pro class, but I think he's hungry for more. Look how much curb he takes in 7A. Might have compromised his run just a little bit down through the S's, but plenty of shuffling further back in the order. But how quick do these 2 start to scamper away? Kaya Teo still might be able to hold on to a class podium position, though. Doesn't want to lose too much ground, but Ollie Webb all the while is chasing and stalking these 2, and he might join this equation. It might be a 3-car fight for the win.
Could very well be. Tommy's gone from being the hunter now to being the hunted. I'm not sure how much life he's got left in those tyres, because he was a little bit squirmy coming out of a couple of the corners, and Patrick was able to close up. But I mean, there's barely a foot between them at the moment. And as you say, there's Ollie right behind, just ready to pounce if either one of them make a mistake.
White flag is in the air, and Patrick Liddy letting the Spaniard know he was there too. Tommy Pintos leads. Patrick Liddy leads Ollie Webb. And look at Patrick close up in the braking zone. Has only got a couple more corners. This is the final lap of racing action we'll have. Both of these drivers, Pintos and Liddy, will go home as leaders and winners in their class if things stay as they are. But I think they're going to tussle over the overall position as well, because Ollie Webb sees a race win in his windshield as well. Look at him all over the back of the Forte car.
Right, so Ollie is using his push to pass technically on that onboard. Patrick has no push to pass left.
Oh boy.
So he's just going to have to be on his wits, but Ollie was on his push to pass then. Has he got much in reserve that he can take the fight to him?
Here we go, mano a 3-horse fight at the front of this field, and Tommy Pintos trying to use some of that push to pass to scamper away. Closing up in the braking zone is the Forte car behind. Look at the wider line from Patrick Liddy into 7A. He's trying to set that run up, making his intentions known. Tommy, if he has any push to pass, will be on it right away on any part of straight racetrack he has. But we've got an AM battle developing as well. Further behind, there are battles up and down this order. As much as you look, Pintos has held the lead into the braking zone, but the battles are not done yet. The leader in AM, Broll at the moment, but Teo and Jeff Cook is in the mix as well. Tommy Pintos on the push to pass into turn 11 for the final time. Patrick Liddy just closing up. Both of these drivers, again, will win in class, but wanting the overall win. It's going to be Tommy Pintos for RWE Motorsport. Made the change in the offseason, and he's making it a winning appearance in the first round of McLaren Trophy America here at Sonoma. Patrick Liddy finishes second on the road. He will win in the Pro class. Ollie Webb will sell for third, second in Pro-Am, and Cooper Broll gets it done for Forte Racing, an AM class win, and he did it by himself as well. Kaya Teo, a top 5 finish. She'll finish second in AM after a great stint early on from her teammate in Paul Holton, and she did a phenomenal job of hanging that on at the end as well. But a charge through the field from Tommy Pintos during his second stint, and I think a deserving winner in this one. But boy, Patrick Liddy was oh so close. A good stint early on from Tanner Harvey, handed the car over to the Southern Californian, but Tommy Pintos and the Spaniard able to nail the restart. Patrick Liddy went with him, and both will come home with some winning hardware in their class. And look at the thumbs up out the window from Patrick Liddy, saluting Tommy Pintos. That was good, hard racing between the two of them. And what an absolute treat we have here. Patrick Liddy just giving a thumbs up to Tommy Pintos. An incident under review from race control, cars 47. That's Pollard, and 15. It's Fabio Greco ahead, presumably on that final restart. But your winner in AM from Forte Racing, the number 100, Cooper Broll. And what a great job of it. Boy, and just when we thought we were going to end under yellow, a phenomenal late restart, giving us plenty of action to work with. But Tommy Pintos getting it done at the end of the day, and look at Patrick Liddy sticking with him all the way down pit lane. Patrick will be oh so hungry to try to get a win tomorrow when he has the opportunity to start in that race car. We'll get to race 2 in a little bit, but we have to digest all that happened in race 1 here. But Tommy Pintos, I think, will be sighing a huge sigh of relief. RWE Motorsports taking him on this season after he was with Skip Barber Racing a year ago. Did a great job, but switched after narrowly missing out on a title to the team that ended up winning the Pro Class Championship with the number 74 car. And he's starting 2026 off with winning ways as well. We'll run you through the order. It's Tommy Pintos, Patrick Liddy, Ollie Webb, Cooper Broll, Kaya Teo in 5th place, Jeff Cook for GMG Racing, 2nd in AM. And the beautiful rolling hills of Northern California up here in wine country, absolutely phenomenal. John Capestro-Dubets, we mentioned he was going to be a factor late in this race, and boy, he absolutely was. And John Capestro-Dubets rolling off the fastest lap of the race as well, a 1:38.2. A look at the results when it was all said and done. Tommy Pintos taking the car home. And what a great race it was. 29 racing laps. The gap at the end from Patrick Liddy, just under half of a second in that car he shared with Tanner Harvey. The Greystone GT machine with Ollie Webb behind the wheel. James sharing out with the overall podium positions as well, 2nd in Pro-Am. Cooper Broll, the solo-driven Forte Racing car, in 4th. It's Forte Racing with Paul Holton and Kaya Teo in 5th as well. GMG Racing's Dennis Thielman and Jeff Cook take 6th place. The 2nd highest finishing AM car in this one. JCD, John Capestro-Dubets, had Highland for company, and a charge through the field for JCD put him 9.5 seconds off the lead, but a valiant effort, and he collects the fastest racing lap as well. The OMS car just behind Sorbero had his hands full, involved in multiple battles throughout this race. Fabio Greco, one of the OMS teammates that battled with him. We continue to have that incident for 45 or 47 and 15 under review, but that won't matter to Cooper Broll, who's taking just a little bit of a breath in victory lane. There's Patrick Liddy. Hugs and celebration from friends, family, and loved one in a hard-earned effort. maybe didn't get the overall win, but he got the class win, and I think he'll be just as happy with that too, because he did it by some margin over Kayateo as well. Timed that move really, really well, it has to be said. When Tommy Pintos was able to sneak through past the 8, and Patrick Liddy went with him. High fives all around for Forte's stablemate in Cooper Broll, chasing an AM-class title by himself this time. High fives for the fan as well, for the driver of the Cypress liveried Forte machine. What a first way to kick off the racing season for McLaren Trophy America. We get to do it again tomorrow as well. We'll let these drivers celebrate in victory lane. We were treated to some excellent racing action throughout. Let's check back in with Amanda Busick, and she's down in pit lane, in victory lane with Amanda Busick.
We're going to get some celebration started. And Cooper, I've seen you go over and over, jumping up and down, and this win for you here in Sonoma from one year to the next. Where is Cooper Broll now as a racing driver?
It's pretty special. I've never had the best results here, so it means a lot to be winning at my home track.
What's your intentions this season?
Go for the championship.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Simple as that from Cooper Broll. All eyes on championship success as he high fives his Forte teammate and Patrick Liddy. Tanner Harvey getting in on the mix as well. There's a great group picture that Shane will love to have hanging in the Forte garages. Great start to the season for them. But Tommy Pintos, the man of the hour, getting the job done in the number 11 machine, taking the overall win, taking the Pro-Am win as well. In that car that he shared with Spencer Schmidt. Spencer Schmidt set up a really, really sharp opening stint. Tommy Pintos did a good job of getting the job done. We're going to take a look through some of the highlights and just how Tommy Pintos got there. Let's take a look back now at what was an excellent opening round of action here at Sonoma Raceway. Here's some of the highlights. It was the beautiful number 8 livery car, Paul Holton and Kayateo, that started on pole position to start off the 2026 McLaren Trophy America season. Cars rolled green. It was a clean couple of laps. We nearly got a full race in under green flag conditions. Just a little bit of chaos and intrigue at the end. But that's racing. That's how it goes. There was the move from the number 74 to get to the front of the field. Battles all the way throughout, up and down the order. Jeff Cook and Dennis Tillman had their hands full in that over-under move. There was Tanner Harvey making his move on Cooper Broll. Patrick Liddy, late in the race, carved his way through the field. And there was the battle for the overall lead. Kayateo at the 4. Tommy Pintos on the charge with Patrick Liddy fighting his way through, but they took the checkered flag in that order. Cooper Broll won in AM. Patrick Liddy won in Pro-Am. And Tommy Pintos, your victor for RWE in the Pro-Am class. You can see the Saratoga water cooling off these drivers here. And what a race it was. The first round of the season here at Sonoma Raceway. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us. For Amanda Busick and my commentary partners, I've been Jonathan Grace. We'll see you tomorrow for race 2.